Hey, hi, hello, and welcome to our after party on the high seas. It's Camp-Paign 3, it's Verda Stello. We're in the story, baby.
Avast.
Wee! Is that piratey?
Yes. All pirates say we.
I'm trying to remember that one disease, and Julie and Brandon, don't tell me, because let me finish the joke first before I say it.
Okay.
I was like, what is that disease that pirates get?
Gonorrhea.
And I literally thought gonorrhea, and then I thought lupus, and I'm like, no, that's the one from House.
Mm-hmm. It's never lupus.
It's never lupus.
Canonically.
But no, I have scurvy in honor of Camp-Paign 3.
I know.
Eric, I know your method, but that might be too far.
You took on some seawater into the lungs, and it stayed there.
How else am I going to get an Emmy for this? I'm not really sure.
That's true.
Yeah.
Is that what we would qualify for as a podcast?
Yeah, Emmys.
Yep.
Well, all the other awards are scams, so
Yes.
I'm going for the Emmy instead.
Well, in lieu of scams, we want new listeners to the podcast. We have a couple items of housekeeping here, people, before we get started. It's like our shift meeting, right? As pirates, we have shift meetings.
Yar, swabbing the deck.
Exactly.
The
First,
poop deck.
Oh, no. I hope there's no poop decks at PAX East, where we're going to be later this week in
Yay.
Boston. All four of us
Hooray.
reunited for the first time since those precious few moments before lockdown. I am excited to be in the same room with all of you.
We were at your wedding.
You were at our wedding, that's right.
I still don't believe Brandon's real, so I need double confirmation.
It is the first not my wedding occasion that we all get
Yay.
together for since lockdown. Wow, Julie, I completely deleted that memory from my brain.
I'm so sorry.
So that's great.
It's pretty funny.
Thank you. Secondly, 6 Sea Shanty, bro. We're going to get into it in just a moment, but Rue made, and Eric helped design, and Brandon scored, and Julia sang, and we have these beautiful videos of the Sea Shanty theme song on all of our socials, Tumblr, Instagram, Twitter, and YouTube, for you to send to a friend and be like, hey, nobody goes harder than this podcast. Listen to it and listen to Camp-Paign 3, okay? It is your sacred duty. If everybody listening texted one person, we will be able to solve world hunger, okay?
Mm-hmm.
Coney 2012.
Brandon, I was about to do that.
Far away.
For just 5 cents a day and sharing your video, this Dungeons & Dragons podcast can grow.
Do you know how many times I spell my name to somebody on the phone and they say, oh, like Sarah McLoughlin? And I'm like, yeah, let's move on. A lot. So she owes me this.
She does.
Yeah. You can find all the links in the episode description. Please share it with someone else. Please. I know that it's Eric Silver, and as I turn my chair around.
Turns head around, sits down, backward on chair, looking at you, eye level.
Yeah.
Like a peer.
Hey, I know I play a popular podcaster on TV, but join the party, as you might know. Not a lot of people know about it outside of this this wonderful community that we have.
Out of us four, no one knows that.
outside of us four.
And they should.
And you, the person listening, that's 5 people.
Yeah.
So we'd love it if you'd share, and we definitely want the show to grow, especially as we're fucking excited about Camp-Paign 3.
Yeah.
So post the video on your TikToks, share it to a friend. Seriously, do it. And if you can take screenshots of you doing it and send it to us on your social media of choice, and I'll say something nice about you.
Ooh.
Seriously, this is a great opportunity for you to grow your favorite podcast that definitely needs a little bit more love.
Don't you want to talk to your friends about your favorite podcast? Do it.
Yeah. Also, to just put it on the internet.
Yeah.
So do you want to talk to strangers about it and say that we're better than everyone else?
Don't you want to make friends who listen to join the party and bond over that? Yeah.
Yeah.
Incredible. Your Discords, your group chats. It's only once every couple years we start a new campaign, and there is truly no better time to get new listeners into the show, and no better person to get new listeners into the show than you, a person who knows people. I take recommendations when Julia, Brandon, or Eric text me. Like when Brandon says, oh, Amanda, you should listen to this album, or Eric puts a song on a playlist. Those are the only reasons I ever listen to new music, because I just don't really need it in my life. And that is your sacred duty to convince people that they need this specific podcast in their life. They do. You know they do.
Amanda never change.
That's me.
For example, did you know T-Pain just released an album just of covers today?
What?
No.
Really?
Yeah.
No.
Yeah,
That's
it's
fine.
fucking tight.
I did know that Hozier released an EP on St. Patrick's Day, which feels too on brand even for Hozier.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
yeah, that's the only thing I knew about.
I saw a post on Instagram today where it was like, yeah, I went to go see a band play at a bar, and then they brought Hosier up to just play acoustic. I was like, what?
Damn, dude.
He's just around.
But we also had a number of questions about this wonderful sea shanty theme song. Eric, Brandon, I wonder if you guys could take a little over an hour to talk in depth, including screen shares of the actual music file in Pro Tools, to tell people kind of all about your inspirations and the process and who sang on it and how that went. Just if you could do it in your spare time.
But Amanda, that's asking too much of these two. They have so much to do.
That sounds good, but yeah, I don't really want to, so.
Brandon, what if we talk about the blues and jazz while we do it?
Ooh, okay.
Let's do that. Let's talk about the Lomaxes instead. Yeah, we already did this on party planning. The party planning from last time. So the one that just came out was Julia and I doing another creation lab. But the one right before it was Brandon and I breaking down the theme song.
Yeah, from March 3rd, 2023. And if you're a patron at any level, you can listen to it. Patrons at $10 and above can watch and see the actual incredibly colorful session of many, 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 many tracks.
And well categorized, I would like to say. That's going to keep Brandon going for at least a month.
It is. My session organization is my only skill set.
Incredible. Well, here's a little preview. Raven-Eyed wanted to know generally, how did the amazing theme song come about and how long did it take to get the lyrics and the music figured out?
It came about by we needed a theme song.
That's true. We did need one.
And we were thinking of what the genre, the sort of hook would be. We were like, shanty, definitely. That came pretty easy. And then at some point during a fever dream, I turned to Eric digitally and said, Eric, lyrics?
Yeah.
I like that you added digitally, like you didn't just turn over in bed and say to Eric, who was also in the same bed as you.
Eric, baby, lyrics.
Baby, lyrics.
Baby, lyrics. Yeah, that's exactly what happened. We've been thinking about this theme song since before Campaign 2 ended. When we were thinking out what the campaign was going to be, the pirate stuff was always on the table. So, those two genres kind of fit together. And then Brandon sent me a bunch of videos about how shanties are supposed to work in October of 2022, which is wild. And yeah, here we are.
After you asked for them, I didn't just send them to you.
He turned over in bed. He brought up a big iPad and showed it to me.
Nice.
And Julia was like, oh, I already have this playlist of sea shanties for thoughts. Do you want these?
Oh, yeah, that was great.
I've had this playlist for 8 years. Would you like this? Would this be good
genuinely,
for you?
It was the most helpful thing.
Aw, thank you. I should say it's not my playlist. It's one I found online, but I have it saved in my favorites for nigh on almost a decade.
Julia, you're going to steal the credit. It's fine.
No,
no
I feel
one's
bad.
checking.
Someone worked hard on that.
So from there, we also had the task of putting together, I say we, it was my job. Brandon had the task of putting together Eric's excellent lyrics that are in real sea shanty form, which is not just any spooky song about the sea, but an actual musical form that has, lyrics that are supposed to go in a specified way. And combining that somehow with our existing theme song. And one of the lovely moments for me of watching people react to the theme song was identifying the Join the Party melody in the music. So Brandon, again, I know you go into this really in depth, but generally ASDGJ Katie wanted to know, how was it, were you inspired by the original theme or was it totally new? And how did you kind of I'm putting my hands together, overlaying my fingies, like I'm making a weave. How did you weave those two together?
Sorry.
Is that not good podcasting when I make a basket with my fingers?
No,
Is that not good?
that's perfect. I was just thinking in my brain the church steeple thing that you do at the playground.
Yeah.
So I always try to put the JTP melody, the do 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 do, in every theme song somehow. I think up till now it's been very obvious.
Sure.
But sea shanties and sort of piratey vibed music has a very specific tonality, I guess you would call it. It's the Mixolydian mode, if anyone out there is a music person.
No.
But so that doesn't always it didn't translate exactly because that's in a major key.
And the Mixolydian mode is when it sounds like Baby Got Back, right?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm,
Yeah.
mm-hmm.
And so I had to sort of find a place to get it. So I saw an opportunity when Eric sent me. So Eric sent me a voice memo. He turned over to me in bed at 3 a.m. and said, "Here's a voice memo I made."
This joke.
And then I gave him a little kiss, and then I went back to bed.
Did it like Eric wasn't up late last night preparing for the episode we're recording today, and it had to be like, time to go to sleep.
But he sent me this voice memo with like the lyrics sort of sung out in a melody that was in his head.
Right. Because to that point, to make this easier, I think like we were balancing the sea shanty that was originally used for as work songs, you know, when you were pulling a rope or having to paddle, that's why you would sing the sea shanty. And then with like the TikTokification of the sea shanty as performative. So it's like we're balancing this thing in between of a theme song and a work song at the same time.
Totally.
So that's where the space, I think that's where the space came from for you to put in a chorus. Because you can hear in the beginning, it feels, what I kept describing was like in the beginning you're paddling a canoe and the second half is a mountain goat song.
Exactly right.
Yeah, there was a spot in the refrain when the like group of people respond. So it's a call and response, right? So like the first person sings and then the group of people respond. And in the respond, Eric's voice memo was sort of just like a basic just like what you'd expect from a response, like sort of like a note or two, just like basic like words. And I was like, oh, that's interesting, maybe I can make that the melody. And so I tried it and it worked and I did it, and then everyone who tried to sing it was like, what the fuck is this interval?
Speaking of which, Milky Cross 95 wants to know who provided the voices for that killer song.
That was me, Julia, Amanda, Eric, Lauren Shippen, Rue Bedrosian, and Tyler, Eric's twin brother.
Also silver.
Also silver.
Silver.
Same
Yes.
birthday.
Yeah.
Same birthday.
Same guy.
Whoa.
We're the same. Yeah. No, it was very fun. We talk about this more, but my twin brother Tyler, who works in finance, but has a long history of being in a cappella groups.
He's Nega Eric, opposite Eric in every way.
Nega Scott. Yeah, he came, and it was funny just because you know he's a bass and also did like professional beatboxing too. So, but you know he's very different. So getting him to like perform in this way, it was kind of fun. Bringing him to the Multitude studio, which was great.
I hope he enjoyed it. Hope he had a good
He
time.
did.
I think so. He
He
said
bought
he
him
enjoyed
pizza.
it.
Yeah.
He didn't post about it because he only posts about like the sushi restaurants he goes to on his Instagram. But
He has to keep his grid clean. It
yeah,
must
I
be
think
sushi.
Oh,
truly
yeah.
yes. The answer is yes.
In order though, it was me, then Lauren, then Julia, then Rue.
Yes.
Yep.
Yeah.
As our kind of featured players, and then you can hear me, Eric, and Tyler, who were in the studio, going, huh.
Huh.
That was the most fun part of the whole shanty for me. When Brand's like, hey, just for funsies, just like pretend you're like pulling a rope. And it was so great. It was so fun. And finally here in Shanty Corner from Scrokingen says, you guys keep killing it with a theme. I'm writing my master's thesis in musicology about adapting
cool.
theme songs, and you will be my primary case with your permission, of course.
Oh, that's awesome. No, definitely. Please do. If you want to and can, when you finally finish your thesis or whatever the final thing is, I want to read it.
Yes.
I would
Yeah.
love to.
Yes.
Brandon, I did offer that this person could reach out to the Join the Party email and ask you questions if you want.
Yeah,
that.
I am absolutely down.
Hundo.
I have a music
Okay,
degree,
good,
too,
because I already
so-
promised that on Instagram.
Good.
One Lauren Shippen also had a music degree in it wasn't theory, but like sort of adjacent like theory musicology thing on musicals. So
Hell yeah.
it's in the family, baby.
Ooh.
Yay. And finally here at our staff meeting, and then I promise we can all get out to the sailing and pillaging and stealing and pirating that we've promised.
And sharing the theme song and sharing the podcast with other people. Yeah.
Exactly. That's like reverse pillaging, Eric. It's when you sneak into somebody's text messages and you leave them a wonderful present of many, many days worth of lovely, inclusive content that welcomes you into a world that you will find really creative and great, but has historically excluded you because you might be slightly different from the cishet Christian boomer men of kind of the Star Wars era in the past.
Pirate
Ow.
Santa.
Ow.
Oh, reverse pillaging. Got it.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah. Beautiful. Well, that is our staff meeting. Okay, as usual, we're going to put our hands in.
Mhm,
Okay,
mhm.
come on, put your hands in.
Okay.
All right, and we're going to say on 3, we're going to say go Harold. Ready? All right, 1, 2, 3, go.
Go Harold!
Amazing. So just in case anybody has forgotten, let's do a quick summary of the first legend here in Campaign 3, the Legends of Esca Island.
Ooh.
Ew. I was there. That was fun.
What do you think Esca means? We shouldn't look it up.
No, we definitely shouldn't
Oh
Google
my
any
God.
words in the future.
Yeah, let's start here. Esca's the name of the thing that dangles from an anglerfish. Eric, how dare you?
Fair. Good
How
point.
did we not look this up?
It was really, really silly of us, honestly.
Sorry, I gotta put my
Oh, yep, it's
heel
going on.
best GM in podcasting glove on. It's on. There it
Once you
is.
take that on, it can't come off, though,
Yeah.
Eric. That's the thing.
Yeah, Brandon, I know. We all know the monkey's paw. I know.
Yeah, Eric's the mask. I know he hasn't said it, but it's true.
Hey, can somebody stop me, please?
No.
Oh no. So before we realize that the treasure we're chasing is in fact the Esca of an anglerfish, we opened episode 1 at the sitting spot, where we played Drink the Drink, where we met some of the townspeople of Esca Island, including Sweet Hondo the stick bug, with incredible fan art, by the way. That tweet was off the chain.
Did you call him sweet?
Yeah, not sweet.
He was not sweet.
That's true. That's true. I fucked up.
That's why you're susceptible to
We all
tricks.
fucked up until episode 3, so like it's all good,
that's
Amanda.
true.
Not just you.
I think if you asked Troy about that guy Hondo, he'd be like, "Oh, my man," and then you're like, "Troy, no."
He was distinctly not our man.
The guy who let us sleep at his
Let us
house. I
crash.
fucking love that
Yeah,
guy.
what a bruv. Yeah. In episode 2, we began the Sea Devil's trials, where, I mean, it seems clear. Eric, you knew they were going to turn on us the whole time, right? The whole town.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
Minute 1.
Brutal.
Did you know, like, literally from episode 1, or was that an episode 2 thing?
I did. Yes, I did. I would love to tell you all this. What I want to say, first of all, is the whole point is you 3 get tricked, right?
Yeah.
Like, it's nothing wrong with the fact that I
Oh, yeah.
layered all these things in. Well, I'm saying to the audience, to my players for indulging me as I tell this story, and everyone listening, like, the point is they get tricked. And this only looks interesting in retrospect, but I would like to point out some of the stuff that I did in episode 1 and 2 to lay this out.
Show us your seeds.
Yeah, show us your foreshadowing, baby.
Yeah. So the first thing was, I don't know if you remember, but everyone was super keyed up when you were playing Drink the Drink. I think I actually said that explicitly, that like the audience was very fucking hype that Drink the Drink was on.
That's not because Troy Riptide was visiting, no?
No, well, I would like to say something about, Amanda, tell me about this game that Troy knows how to play.
One card Manny.
One
That was
card Manny.
Yeah.
Amanda, that was the funniest thing I've heard in a decade.
Well, Brandon, when I said it, all of you, I think, were just dumbfounded. And so I was just like, oh, maybe that didn't go over well. But like one of my traits as a mariner, which is my background, is that you know a card game. And listen, I mean, cards aren't easy to come by and also wet in the crags. And so we have one card Manny. Listen, came to me in the moment, first thought, best thought. And what can I say? One card Manny.
It's because you said it with such confidence that I was like,
Yeah.
oh shit, did I miss something? Is this a reference to something that I...
Should we know One Card Manny?
No.
I
No.
thought, isn't one of the things about the Crags is that you know one game really well too? So
Yeah.
that's what I was trying not to negate.
Yes.
So that's why I'm like, oh, I'm like, no one knows this game outside of like your friends who grew up in the Crags.
No, you're right. I was mistaken. It is my crags. It is my crags like feature.
Yes. So like you said it, and I'm like, oh, what the fuck is that? And in my head, Hondo was like, I'm so flummoxed by this person who's going to be Bates coming up to me and suggesting a different game. I'm just going to say, no, we're playing my game.
Fair enough.
No, we're not doing that.
One card
Also,
says Manny, one card says nothing. I don't know. What do you want me to say?
What's so confusing about the game?
What's so confusing?
It's still funny.
so funny. From there, Hondo was going to let you win the whole time.
Oh.
I don't know if you remember Brandon specifically, but Umbi realized that the poison had a very, very distinctive acrid smell. So it was really easy for you to decide what the drink was. It was rigged in so much, like, you know, we'll see what happens. Maybe Hondo would have stopped you if you got it wrong or something. But that's the way that it shook out. Also, necessarily, it wouldn't have shook out this way. There were like other NPCs you could have interacted with other than Hondo, but it kind of just went from like Jammy to Hondo was kind of the most straightforward path that you ended up following.
Who'd we miss out on, Eric? Give us a name.
Oh God, I don't have their name. I don't know if I had their name written down. I might have used like Oh, there was like a moth guy that was going to be around
Cool.
who would have been like, hey, Hondo, take it easy. Watch these new people who just come into our town.
Cute.
Guys, during the mid-roll, I want to tell you something I learned about the class of insects that are moths and butterflies where they do metamorphosis. I want to tell you something
Okay.
interesting I learned about
I'm
that.
very excited
Oh,
now.
sure. Okay.
Is it a secret? Is it during the mid-roll that no one else will know? So, like, the audience is not going to know? Okay.
Oh, damn. Okay.
And then, of course, there was the whole thing about the sun goals, of course.
Yeah.
Fucking sun goals.
Very fun. Sorry, Cammy. Very fun. Troy has no problem sleeping. What are you talking about?
That was so funny. I can't believe that just the dice rolls led us there. And, of course, the three of you in, like, a three-person
Bunk bed, yeah.
bunk bed. It was absolutely
You
ridiculous.
said there's bunk beds and then also separate beds, and we're like, obviously we have the bunk beds. What else would we do? Why would we take any other option?
I didn't even think about another option. There's no other option.
You said you said triple decker bunk bed, and we jumped.
Yeah. But Eric, what I want to know is, like, depending on the impression we made, are there any variables that would have changed? Like, did they assess us in any way? Did they tailor the challenge to us in any way? Would it have made a difference if we slept on the ship as opposed to at Hondo's?
Yeah, I think that Hondo kept an eye on you, for sure. That's why he wanted you to sleep at his house. So the thing about, like, Troy shooting a sun goal out of the air freaked him out. And also the whole thing about Cammy's magic freaked him out. That was the big thing. And I think that, like, when Julia was like, oh, can I just erase my disadvantage, my exhaustion with this, my disadvantage with this? I'm like, yeah, sure, because you're going to have to do something really weird in front of Hondo.
Yeah, listening back to the transcript while I was doing that, I was like, Eric is really I was like, obviously I'm going to do magic. Why would it be weird if I did magic? I'm a magic class. And you're like, okay, like if you want to, okay, you're going to have to do it in front of Hondo. I'm like, okay, fine.
I just didn't know if you were keeping close to your chest. And the answer is no, for sure. But here's the thing. Then you all beefed it so hard during the trial that Hondo was like, nah, these guys can get thrown to the Sea Devil. It's fine.
We did beef it pretty hard on that climb. It was pretty bad.
Yeah, I don't know what you're talking about. I didn't throw a bomb up and then hit me in the face.
You mean several times?
Several times.
Well, Brandon, you made to see a specialist for this because the question surgeon, Michelle Spurgeon, does suggest, do you think we could have Brandon roll 2 D10s instead of a D20 so he can sneak up on the big numbies?
That's a good idea. What do you think, Eric?
That just means that Brandon can never roll a nat 1, though.
Eric, what do you think when I get a 99?
We didn't say percentile dice. We said 2 D10s.
Yeah, do 2. Yeah, Brandon can, because Brandon's rolls are so bad, he rolls from 1 to 100 just to make it even for him. No, we're not doing that. But Jesus Christ, I think you need to like sage your dice or something, Brandon.
It's not just me. Everyone rolled poorly. Everyone rolled hot and cold, I should say, on this episode.
That's true. That's a very good point. It was the 2 nat 1s in a row or like a 2 and a 1. That shit was crazy.
I think the first roll was an Amanda's nat 1.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I've been rolling like absolute crap.
Yeah, we just don't remember it because Troy has the ability to bounce arrows off of things, so it always makes up for it.
Eric, it's almost like I strategically chose a subclass that gives me some buffs when I miss.
Yeah.
Good point.
Well, Umbi has the ability to bounce inert bombs off his head. Is that a thing?
He just does that as a party trick. This is for fun.
Yeah. There's no actual benefit to it.
That's like when he's dropping smaller tinctures into larger tinctures. He like heads it to other people.
It's true.
But this was such a fun challenge. Eric, how did you go about designing this?
Oh, it's a good question. I think challenges are always just more fun. I realize like all action is kind of like has to be structured in Dungeons and Dragons, but then in response, I feel like the structure should reflect the thing, which is why like climbing up an aggro crag felt really fun for me. It's like, okay, you guys need the climbing is the main thing, but then you need to deal with the stuff happening, and you need to make sure that your successes in the climbs let you move up there. And of course, like, having a teleportation bomb is exactly the thing you should do. It's just it didn't work.
Yeah.
Or destroying the glue sap that was going down on you. It was like, well, I don't know what you're supposed to do with that. And then, of course, throwing the zombies in there as well just made it all more complicated. And Hondo truly had no idea what was going on, which was wild.
Yeah, it should have sort of triggered more alarm bells that Hondo was very surprised by the presence of the zombies. And I love that as a little layer of like, oh, something else is going on, but I'm too, wrapped up in the challenge that I'm trying to get through alive right now to sort of clock that. But I mean, narratively, great stuff.
I just didn't know whether or not, like, for some reason this island had a wild zombie horde,
Oh, I put 2 and 2 together right away.
Really, Julia? Is that because Audrey the Rotten Queen was involved?
Yes, exactly. I knew
exactly.
TM Julia Schifini TM.
Yeah.
And of course, that segues us into episode 3, where, hey, I mean, what a cinematic end to episode 2 with the anglerfish waking up, the Esca. Yes, we should have seen it. Yes, probably I would not have walked right up to it had I known what that word means, but here we are.
We all didn't know, Amanda. It's okay.
It's fine. I'm glad that Umbi had enough just empty jars like Amanda in her kitchen to,
so funny.
to be able to fill it.
I feel like I returned to a few like real classic Dungeons and Dragons tropes in this one. I'm like, so you walk up to the treasure chest, huh?
Uh-huh. So you do that, and we're just like,
you don't want to roll anything,
Definitely
right?
not a mimic.
Sounds good. Listen, I am not mean enough to make it a mimic. It is part of a big anglerfish though. Instead, there was just something so funny about imagining like a treasure chest on the end of an anglerfish's little dangle.
It's so good. It's perfect.
It's very smart.
Yeah, and of course I got to throw my the Moby Dick shit in there. I was like, no, it's ambergris. That's what it is here.
Yeah.
We should say no whales were harmed in the making of JTP.
Yes.
No, it's not ambergris. It's ambergris, actually.
Yes.
That's what it is. It's different.
If you check the transcripts, we're spelling it the same, though, so don't worry about it.
But I loved the fact that we have Dr. Radish Radish's guide to protecting yourself as our sort of...
I asked someone to give me the name.
I haven't been able to do the transcript yet for that one. I'll have it this weekend.
Okay, because I wrote down the beginning. I wrote down Dr. Radish Radish, and then I forgot to write down the full name. So, like, I need the full
made it
name.
up off your top of your head, Eric.
No, I know, but like then I told myself I need to write down the full name of what the thing is because I like it.
Yeah, I wasn't writing fast enough to capture it. But point being, I thought that was such an inventive and interesting way to kind of get out of that encounter. What were the other options for us? Erica's like, I didn't think you expected us to like stab the anglerfish, but I mean, what was in your brain?
I mean, I had a bunch of ideas.
He was basically just like, good luck, motherfuckers.
No.
In the past, you've told us that you like don't
write stuff down.
Yeah, you told us you don't make any notes.
I don't write notes. No, I definitely wrote notes for this one because if the idea actually
that wasn't what I was gonna say.
I never write notes. Or I do write notes all the time.
Whatever makes me look better.
Whatever makes me look better.
I was gonna say in the past you said you don't like write solutions for puzzles.
Yes.
For us. Is that still the case?
Oh, 100%. I feel like that's such a waste of your time as a GM for any game, but like I would say the least so of Dungeons and Dragons. You can really, a lot of people really push people towards like fighting or certain mechanics in Dungeons and DMing, which I don't think you should do. You shouldn't write down a solution. So I had a few ideas. I wrote down stat blocks for everyone in case a fight broke out. I wrote so for like the zombies, I had a stat block, and for all the cultists, I had a stat block. But I got to reveal it in a different way because Julia rolled so well that I brought up the pamphlet instead.
Mm-hmm.
So it's like I kind of did it in reverse. Like I always knew that they had the ability to do shape water, but you wouldn't have figured that out unless you had seen the pamphlet.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Hell
Like you
yeah.
would have seen all the cultists. Here's the thing. I'll reveal this. A thing that would have happened, the anglerfish had barnacles all over it, remember?
Mhm.
Right.
A thing that would have happened is that all of the cultists would have moved the anglerfish, and if you got hit by the anglerfish, it would have been slashing damage.
Yeah.
It wouldn't have just been like being hit by a giant monster. You would have been like cut up by that thing.
And probably like a nasty infection because like those things never bathe.
Yeah.
Like I'm sorry to start a rumor, but an anglerfish has never taken a shower.
That's true. That has
Damn.
Can I say my favorite part about the introduction of Dr. Radish Radish and his cool pamphlet?
Sure.
It is the journey that Umbi is going to go on to discover whether or not he is in fact Dr. Radish Radish.
I wrote that part down. Yeah.
Brandon, I don't want to make character choices for you, but I need Umbi to discover definitively if he is Dr. Radish Radish.
Yes.
I just love that ultimately it shook out. We still don't know if Umbi
We'll
was
never
Dr.
know.
Radish Radish. We don't know.
I think that'll be the end of campaign reveal, whether or not Umbi is Dr. Radish Radish.
And as we close the book, we zoom in on the author photo of Dr. Radish Radish.
A pawpaw? Not bruised?
But no, it was funny. So yeah, no, I just had a lot of stats. I didn't know what you were going to do. The thing that I was not necessarily prepared was you all having a good enough idea. It was a very sticky situation that you were all in, and you all got out of it very quickly. So I wasn't necessarily prepared for that, but then it kind of played out in a different way, which was kind of cool.
Yeah, and we got an even stickier situation later on in the episode where we were all
Exactly.
covered in sap.
So, oh my God, so funny. Can I tell you, I was not prepared for this, but it was so funny.
I was going to say we got out of the conflict pretty quickly, but not the island, because we're like, you know what's a great idea? Check swatch. Let's extensively loot the sit-in spot.
Let's steal some shit.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, to my mind, of course we would. Like, that's what we're here for. We're pirates. Like, we gotta.
I want to give my flowers quickly to Brandon, who's like, I'm going to use a bomb to open up this thing, and me just dying in the background being like, it's going to make a mess.
No, but
it's not a delicate bomb.
Julie, you still don't understand. It's a very precise bomb.
I was like, oh God.
Brandon and I have already talked about this extensively about, like, because of the Mad Bomber subclass, all bombs that Umbi has does double damage to structures. So we've already talked about, like, Umbi throwing this on a ship. A ship is a structure. I checked with Mage Hand Mike of Mage Hand of Valda's, and he said that that's the case. And also everyone should pick up Valda's. This is the Valda's plug that we're doing in the episode. Everyone go pick up Valda's.
Great shit. Man.
So, like, I know we are going by the letter of the law as written in Mage Hand here, because, like, we're doing something different. I'm going by rules as written here. The smallest explosion a bomb can make is 5 by 5. So it's not that you can't do it. It's just so funny.
Would you rather me waste time trying to pick a lock, Julia?
Brandon, I would never tell you what to do.
So it was great. I loved it. I loved it deeply.
Finn in Discord pointed out something that I also share, which is not really a question, but God, the lack of pursuers during the bar smash and grab was so creepy.
So
no one
stressed.
coming, Julia rolling good perception checks, Eric saying, nah, you're good, bro. It created, Finn says, an amazing precedent/reputation for Audrey the Rotten Queen, who I'm sure we'll meet again in the future.
My best friend, my new best friend.
Did we officially solve why they weren't pursuing us? I don't think we
No,
did.
we
No.
just saw Audrey in the distance as we were leaving on the ship.
Yeah.
So we still don't know exactly why they weren't pursuing us.
And Magdalena, also Amanda, would like to know, what happened to the townspeople, Eric? Why were you rolling those dice?
Eric's giving us a
they
cheeky
died.
look
Eric's giving
right
us a
now.
coy
died.
face.
I'll never tell.
I knew he would say that. Ugh.
You know what the problem is going to be? Eric, take your headphones
Take
off.
them
first.
Okay, I'll take my
Okay,
headphones off. Yeah,
yeah,
sure.
yeah.
Yeah.
You know what the problem is going to be?
Yes.
Audrey the Rotten Queen, full of zombies.
Yeah.
And now what's going to happen is there's going to be a sea devil zombie next time
Yes.
we run into Audrey the Rotten Queen.
You're
Yeah.
absolutely
Now, I don't want to
right.
give Eric that idea in case it hasn't
Yeah.
struck him yet, but that is going to be a problem.
I mean, she almost certainly like just converted all those towns cultists
Oh,
to
yeah.
her
Yeah.
ship, right?
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
But I'm worried about the
100%.
sea devil in particular. Anyway, Eric can put his headphones back
All right,
on
you're
now,
good.
Amanda.
And then I said, Eric, how? Oh, sorry. What?
Oh, we're talking about how Brandon smells. I'm glad we're
Yeah.
Oh, no.
Brandon, much like the sea devil, has never showered.
And then Eric turned over to me in bed and said,
baby, you stank.
Well, that was the shape of our first 3 episodes, our first arc here. And I, for one, think it's really exciting that we're going to Legends of the Hidden Temple our way through these adventures on the high seas.
Woo!
How do the three of you feel about where this kind of kicked off? I've been thinking a lot about, like, starting all of our episodes off with a bang. Also because, like, I feel like Campaign 1 starts off super slow, which I did almost intentionally in the way that I wanted to, like, you know, in a video game you start with a tutorial level and then it opens up. And Campaign 2 started individually, and then the campaign started with the Steven reveal at the end of the first episode. Like, how do we feel about the kickoff of getting going?
I love it. I loved that we started in media res and we were able to find our dynamic really quickly. And I think that kind of throwing us into pirate shenanigans right off the bat allowed us to be like, this is what our life is like. And that was really, really nice.
Yeah, I agree. I always feel like I get more character out of like watching a TV show or whatever, a movie, whatever it is. I get more character. I get more personality from a character when they're in media res, as opposed to like being spoon fed. Like, oh, here's how they were born and all their traumas, and that's how you should inform your character. Like, it's much better to just like see it develop in action, I think.
Hell yeah.
I'm glad we cut all the exposition of everyone sitting around a fire sharing their trauma for the first episode.
Yeah, and Crow in a Human Suit, great username, also said that they liked this and asked, did you talk about the interpersonal dynamics between the PCs before recording, such as Cammy taking Umbi to the side and being like, there, grandpa, and smoothly stepping in, or are you making them up as you go?
That was just Julia doing that to Brandon. So
That's just Julia's good role-playing.
Yeah, no, we didn't really discuss what our dynamic was going to be at all. And I think we discovered it through play, which is beautiful and organic, in my opinion, at least.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think because we've been playing together for so long now, like, it doesn't take us as long to get that. So I think we sort of just have the trust that we'll find it, and we're all actively trying to find it through play. So I think it's, it's a byproduct of us working together for so long, and especially, two of us are married and two of us have known each other since fifth grade, second grade, first grade.
Since we
preschool?
were
Guess
5.
who's who?
Well, Brandon and I share a bed, so we're married.
Yeah, that's true. Speaking of which, Brandon's secrets, I'm dying to know about these moths. So why don't we take a break? I'm going to run to the kitchen, refill our chip and dips, and then we'll come back for some more questions.
Woo!
Chip and dips.
Let's do it.
Hey, it's Amanda. Something happens right at the kind of middle stage of March that we're in now here in New York City, where it still feels like winter most days. But the difference is that I look down into the soil around trees, like that little, square of sidewalk that's been carved out for the tree, and I see little buds poking up. And I know that pretty soon that's going to be a tulip or a daffodil or a little like lilac bloom. And it makes me so excited for spring. So, hey, welcome to the mid-roll. I got you this bunch of flowers. Thank you so much to our newest patrons, Helen, Mia, and A. You have made the very smart decision to join our motley crew. You can enjoy party planning, including that one we were talking about from March 3rd, all about the sea shanty, and so much more. Best of all, in my mind, is that you're helping make this podcast a reality. We could not do this without you. There would be no Join the Party without your support on Patreon. And if you, too, want to have us read your name and thank you and tell you how important you are, you should join us. You get bloopers for every single episode of the show we've ever made. Yes, all 3 campaigns worth, approaching 200 episodes, actually. It's nuts. As well as ad-free episodes if you don't want to spend this extra time with me in the mid-roll, which, I get it. I'll take it in exchange for your $8 a month, and full-length Patreon-only bonus episodes. Eric played a whole campaign with Misha and friends of the show, Marquez and Josh, all in the Clear Eyes Full Hearts game that he made. It was so much fun and had so many feelings. And if you want to listen to the winner of the One-Shot Derby, the Battle of the Brontes, which we will be playing very soon, you gotta join the Patreon. That's at patreon.com/jointhepartypod. If Join the Party Tuesdays are, a special part of your week, but by the time Friday comes around, you're like, oh, I listened to all my podcasts. Like, what am I going to do? Got, still commute on the Friday or like do my chores on a Saturday and I want something to accompany me. You got to listen to Games and Feelings, dude. This is an advice podcast all about games where Game Master Eric becomes Question Keeper Eric, where he has a revolving cast of guests along with permanent guest Jasper Cartwright, the actor, D&D player, and host of 3 Black Halflings. The show is absolutely delightful, and their most recent episode on this past Friday, March 17th, was all about how reality TV is also a game, and getting into the politics and money and structure of how reality TV shows and competition shows make us, up such a huge part of TV culture, both in the UK and the US. It's really, really fascinating, and not just because Eric touches on the things I have yelled at him about when it comes to Canadian Big Brother, which is, if you know, it's a oh boy, it's a whole thing right now. So listen, you gotta listen to Games and Feelings. It is a weekly podcast, including not just advice about games and the feelings that those games give us, but things like Eric's 2020 hit show, What's Your Favorite Pokemon? And then I say something nice about you, or Woofapatasane for short, where Eric interviews people about their favorite Pokemon and then says something nice about them. And me and him answering advice questions from old columns, advice questions of yore, and giving them better answers than like Dear Abby could in the 70s. So if you like all of this stuff, look up Games and Feelings in your podcast app and subscribe for new episodes every Friday. As promised, we are sponsored this week by D&T, where code JOINTHEPARTY will get you 10% off, free shipping, and an exclusive Cami sticker. You cannot get this Cami sticker anywhere else. If that's not enough for you, D&T is a values-driven company focused on selling the highest quality tea with exceptional customer service to the most awesome nerds in the world. They were created in 2019 and have gone from scooping tea and putting them into paper bags at conventions to now having like a full business infrastructure of tumblers. They sell like a beautiful like tea tumbler, a wonderful metal strainer with a D20 on it, barcodes, like real branding and packaging. It's amazing. And their tea is so delicious. So seriously, you're gonna want to get one of their tea blends. They have a decaf, they have caffeinated, they have herbal, they have black, all kinds of incredible teas and such pretty accessories. Plus, the Cami sticker. Come on, people. Go to DandTea.com and use code JOINTHEPARTY for 10% off, free shipping, and a Cami sticker. We are so excited to be able to partner with fellow small businesses like D&T. So show them your support. Show them with your dollars that you think this is cool also. And go to DandTea.com. We are also sponsored by 20-Sided Store, one of the small businesses that we admire, and it's our friendly local game store. They can also be your friendly local game store, by the way, through the power of shipping. And I went to their website earlier today as I was preparing these notes for this mid-roll to, refresh the copy, make sure I'm telling you something interesting, keeping it cool as you listen to this ad, which I greatly appreciate. And I noticed that they have a top 20 list of their best-selling board games on their website. So I want to make this interactive, gamify it a little bit, if you will, and ask you to guess two of the games, the board games, on their top 20 best-selling list. All right, I'm gonna wait a second. You're gonna think about board games. You're gonna think about what you think the best-selling board games of this Williamsburg, Brooklyn game store might be. But hey, listen, I'm not going to tell you what they are because you have to go to 20sidedstore.com and click top 20 to see if you're right. And oops, while you're there, you might as well use code PIRATE for 20% off your order online. Or of course, if you visit them in store, just mention Join the Party to get that 20% discount. All of that and more, and finding out if you were right and you could guess those games at 20sidedstore, spell out all those words.com. The show is finally sponsored by BetterHelp, and you don't have to take to the open seas to know that there is a lot more of the world out there to discover, and a lot more in the, and stay with me in this metaphor, the great uncharted open waters of like your mind, to find out. I sometimes feel like my brain is a pirate map where, Here Be Dragons is like scrawled over most of the surface, and then a small part of it is plants, and a small part of it is sleeping. And the rest of it, good luck to me and the rest of us as we try to figure out how to navigate ourselves as we grow and change over time. And therapy is the main way that I navigate through the uncharted waters of living in my particular brain. And I know that when I was looking for a therapist and I couldn't find anybody who was near me, who was taking new patients, who was remotely affordable, BetterHelp was a crucial tool that let me keep accessing therapy even though I couldn't find someone perfect near me. So all you have to do is fill out a brief questionnaire to get matched with a licensed therapist, and crucially, like I did several times, you can switch therapists anytime for no additional charge. Discover your potential with BetterHelp. Visit betterhelp.com/jointheparty today to get 10% off your first month. That's BetterHelp, HELP.com/jointheparty. And now, back to the after party.
Well, Brandon, I'm never staying in a room alone with a monarch butterfly ever again
No.
after
As
that
you
fact
shouldn't.
you told me.
Oh,
Scandal.
what did I miss when I was in the kitchen?
Oh, Brandon told me a fact about butterflies, and
Oh.
I don't want to be around
was
them
They're
anymore.
Scandalous.
perverts.
Uh-oh.
Butterflies are pervs.
Brandon, this feels more suitable to our business meetings that we have than on mic, but okay. That really got it.
Oh, jeez.
No, ABAP. All
Oh,
butterflies
no.
are perverts.
Yeah, you're right.
That's just
hilarious.
true.
That's just true.
Oh no, guys.
They have a proboscis. What are they doing with that thing?
What are they doing with it?
What are they
oh,
doing
boy.
with it? ABAP.
Is this a good time to get into really thoughtful world building
Yes.
questions
Yeah.
about Verda Stello?
Anything to get us away from this, please.
Good. Well, okay, here's a question from Matlina, which is very suitable. They say, why so chaotic? I mean, I love it, but I wonder where it stems from this time. I guess regarding our behavior in episodes 1 to 3.
What do you
Yeah.
mean?
We're pirates.
I included this one specifically. I just thought this would be an interesting time to reflect on our on how just like everyone's play from campaign 3 to previous things. Like I also don't know necessarily specifically what chaotic means because it means so many different things when people say it on the internet. It can just mean good. It can mean I enjoy. It can mean eventful. It can mean I enjoyed it. So I'm not exactly sure. But like, do you think that? I definitely think that we're more free, but I think it's the thing that Brandon said that like we're more experienced. I feel like I've set us up to hit the ground running the most that we have in any beginning of campaigns.
Yeah.
I agree, and we're also like this is a world totally unlike our own, and particularly compared to campaign 2, where it's a near future, it's a near reality. All of our characters had everything to lose, and we're just getting to know each other, their powers, protecting their identities. All of that means that I think we were a little more reserved and really felt the weight of consequences, at least speaking for me as a player, a lot more. And in this one, like we are doing this kind of stuff regularly, and that was not true in campaign 2 whatsoever. We were regular people thrust into an unusual situation, and here this is our bread and butter. And so I think the pacing, the characters, the freeness with which we are ready to like jump in and play, all of that leads to what I think might come off as eventful, which is what I'm guessing they mean here by chaotic.
Amanda, I think you hit the nail on the head because I absolutely agree in terms of campaign 2. And I think with the campaign, we were also slightly more reserved because we were playing Monster of the Week, which is a much more deadly game, I guess, in terms of the life or death consequences of what can happen to us in the sort of setting that we were in. So I think...
And the children in our care, that as well.
Yeah, I think part of it too was like, oh, we have to take care of the children. But I think because we're pirates, because that is the genre, and also we're in a kind of magical, mystical world for the first time in a couple of campaigns, that we can take bigger swings and bigger risks because they are on brand for who our characters already are.
Totally.
I agree with all that. I think that we've just we developed a shorthand in our play and in our work and in our friendships that like we know where the sandbox lines are, and we know we just understand each other like without having to like figure it out at this point. So I think that's just what you're sort of seeing, which feels like there's no rails, but like there certainly are rails that we've worked out in the past.
Yeah.
We did a lot of designing the kind of campaign and the vibe and the feel and how we were going to structure things to make it feel really effortless on mic, and I hope it does come off that way.
Yeah.
I've been thinking about like different types of games. I always do this during after parties, but like the different types of games that I'm inspired by that can be applied to role-playing games. And I feel like the one that I've been thinking about more so is like point and click adventure games. Like the ones where it's like you combine items together and then you put them somewhere and then you see if they work or not. And like then like Indiana Jones or Sam the dog who looks like a detective will say that doesn't work there. It's like tabletop role-playing games are like an infinite number of items can be combined with an infinite number of items, and then you can put them and try to apply them wherever. And it is the job of the GM to say, that doesn't work there, or it does, but here's what happens next. And I think that like knowing that this doesn't work because it's not going to create a good story or it's like not narratively satisfying, I think is worthwhile to say. And that's the stuff, like all the machinery behind your favorite amusement park ride.
Yeah. I was actually thinking about amusement park rides when Brandon says it seems like it doesn't have rails, but it does. Like when you're on a water park ride, or if you're on the new trackless rides that Disney has, that sort of thing.
Hell yeah.
Which I was on recently.
Yes.
They're so weird and cool.
They are. They're weird and cool.
Brandon, did you have the new Dole Whip trio combos?
Trio combos?
There's like 2 other flavors now.
I don't think you can get all 3 of them at once, though. Can you?
They have a flight that they do at Disney Springs. I can't remember which restaurant it is, but there's a like Dole Whip flight that you can get.
I did not get that. I did get the. I mean, we always get Dole Whips, and I've had a lot of them. I got like the lemon one, and they had a couple years ago. They had like a Dole Whip festival, and I got a bunch of them. But this time, I did get at Magic Kingdom at the Dole Whip stand. I got they had coconut soft serve with pineapple Dole Whip.
They do a
Ooh.
swirl.
In a
It's
swirl.
very good.
And it is like not just good for Disney World. It is incredible.
In general, very good.
That is tight. Listen, you 2 know more. I just saw one post on Instagram, and I said, "Oh, this is cool." And then from there, it like came out like on a little like painter's palette. It was, and they had like
cool.
3 little doohickeys, and they were all different colors, which is why I knew they were different flavies.
Hell yeah.
Yum. We still have a lot of really good questions to go, guys. So let's
No, let's talk about Dole Whip instead.
Dole
right.
Whip.
Let's try to get to it. So Sebelicious had a great detailed question about the dried carvings. They said, is the full text carved into each of the 13 carvings? Like I'm picturing stones in my head, and mentioned that Eric said that they're like hunger stones. Or is the text separated into 13 pieces spread over 13 carvings? If so, did people have to gather all the pieces together? And then Marina chimed in to say that they imagined it like a 10 Commandments type deal, where the contents are generally known and the real carvings might not be that relevant to the conversation, like stored somewhere important, but everyone kind of knows the gist and knows the deal.
Interesting.
So, Eric, what were you picturing?
Ooh, that's cool. I think it's the most straightforward of them, is that there's 13 different ones. I think there's an idea that like the Hunger Stones were carved into like the riverbed by proto-civilizations, that like, hey, people in the future, if the water goes below this line, we're all dead.
Yeah.
Just so you know, we've experienced this, and we don't want you to go through it again, or we want you to prepare once this happens. And I think that that's what we're kind of getting at, is like once the water line of the Cascade Basin went below a certain level, it's like, oh, this is bad. Who made it and how they got them there is up for debate. Definitely something to be explored. But I definitely wanted like someone, they were all the same and they were arranged kind of like 13 spokes on a wheel.
Gotcha.
Nice.
In the water basin.
Speaking of a wheel, I'm Not a Goldfish asks a geography question. They say, is Verda Stello the cut surface of a bagel? Or is it a donut? If not a donut, is there an upside down? Is it Discworld? Also, for the waterfall, is it a single sheet along the border of the hole, or like a solid column of water?
Ooh, that's a good question.
I think we talked about this in the
World building
stuff. I think, tell me if I'm wrong, Eric, but I believe we decided on Bialy with a column of water in the middle.
That's right. We decided on Bialy because there is not a hole. We thought it was a donut, but it is a Bialy in that there is no hole. That we just thought it was a hole. Yes, it is a single sheet of water, which it's not a column or it doesn't fill it all the way through because that's where the Great Salt Sea is.
But it's a hollow column, right? Like it's a circle, not a flat plane.
It's a hollow column, yes, correct. I had to explain this to Moya. I went on to Exolore to explain Verda Stello, and truly I had to explain this to her for 10 minutes because she was so hung up on the cascade and being like, how does it work? Where does it come from? I'm like, we don't know. It's just there, and then inside it's pirates. That's where it is. It's pirates in there.
You should listen to the episode. It was really, really good.
Yeah.
And I also have I made like a rudimentary map at some point, which is like on our socials, and I think it's in the Verda Stello page, which you can click on. It's in the link in every single episode. You can see that there as well.
Nice.
Hell yeah. TJ, rolls not 20 for hugs, would like to know, do different species in Verda Stello have symbiotic relationships like in our world? For example, do bees help pollinate flowers, and what are the social ramifications?
Ooh, that's an interesting question that I think I might, Spoily Corner, address in a future episode.
Ooh, we'll leave it then. I love that.
Yeah, we'll see. I definitely think it's a little more complex. They are not straight up plants, and green folk don't do this.
Yes.
I would say, because like they're not plants and bugs.
They're not
right?
animals, right? They're not like, they don't serve that function directly.
The bee-like green folk, though, do have a very cool dance to tell each other where good shit is, though.
It's good.
Famous dancers, the bee folk.
It's the hamster dance. Yeah. So the answer is no, because we have we have animals and plants in Verda Stello, but the relationship between those two they're certainly complicated.
Yeah, I think in general, nature has symbiotic relationships, whether it's Verda Stello or it's the planet Earth.
Mm-hmm.
Damn, dude.
Too true.
Damn.
John also asks, are there grape guys that are bunches as well as singular grape people?
Yeah.
The answer to me was obvious, but I want to know what everyone thinks.
Yes, of course.
Mm-hmm. I think yes too, but Eric, you tell us.
Yeah, nothing's funnier than having having both singular and group things. It's very
I really
funny.
like the idea of like some people are the actual fruit itself, and then some people are like the bush on which the fruit grows.
Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
for sure.
Yep. I thought baby, single grape. Adult, bunch of grape. That's just me.
Papa, my other grape's coming in.
Oh my god, imagine like it's like a bunch of grapes that are born, and then as they get older, they all split off, and now you have
Jesus
12
Christ.
children
that's
instead of
cute.
one.
That's, I mean,
I love
handy
that.
for wrangling infants, I gotta say.
I don't love young people saying my grapes came in.
No, no.
That's true. Bray wants to know what the green folk call their birthdays. And I see we have some suggestions gathered here from chat. Eric, would you take us through?
Yes. I said grow days, and then other people said sprout days. I wrote hat days. I don't remember why.
Hat day.
I think
The day
that
you
was
wear
a
the hat.
miscopy.
The
Yeah.
birthday.
Maybe it's hat day.
Duh, it's illegal to wear a hat before that.
I think I miscopied something. And then other people suggested emergence, Irmaversary, and germ day.
It's funny.
I like emergence. You know what you probably meant writing that, Eric? Hatch
Yeah.
day for the bugs.
Maybe
Oh,
it's
yeah.
hatch,
Yeah.
Cute. Yeah, it's a little bit dependent on species. So I would probably say I like emergence as well, because
Yeah.
that's true whether it's, an egg, a sprout, a fruit.
Yeah.
Yep.
Very cool. And Julia, this one was coming in hot under the wire. I saw it last night, but just missed my train, ironically says. When we mentioned Cammy having a teacup on her belt, just wanted to ask, is the teacup a teacup holster? And just missed my train included a picture of a leather teacup and teapot holster.
Which is very cool.
Very cool. Or is the teacup just tied to their belt?
While I love that, I do just picture it kind of just looped onto their belt.
You gotta get easy
Easy access,
you know? Easy access,
Holster's
yeah.
a difficult thing to pull out sometimes. And Cammy's not a incredible sharpshooter like Troy is.
True.
Cammy can sharpshoot, but only throwing tea out of a teapot.
Only a tea saucer.
That's pretty good.
Cammy can do some cool pouring tricks, though.
That is true. That's where her talent lies.
Mm-hmm.
I will say, as a final point as we move on to the next section, is that I have seen equal amounts of people squeeing about each individual PC. Each individual people was like, I would die for Troy. Umbi is my dad now. Cammy, we're best friends. I've seen equal amounts of that, which I think is pretty cool.
Yes, we
So
love
good
that.
job, everybody.
Good job loving everyone.
Good job, audience. Good job, players. And if you want to say who your favorite PC is, text 1 to 555-444 for Cammy. Text 2 to 555-444 for Ruben Stuttered.
And if you want to vote for who your favorite GM is, text Eric's real life number, which is redacted.
555-444. Oh, I want you to text me about Ruben Stuttered.
Oh, got it. Just the number 2 over and over again.
Yeah.
Amazing. Yeah, it's been so cool to see fan art come in and people are beginning to talk about their cosplays. And God, it's the absolute coolest. And more evidence why I'd be like, hey, people have fan art of this campaign and they're 3 episodes in. You gotta listen to Join the Party, baby.
Yeah, boy.
Boy.
All right, now let's have some podcasting and IRL questions. I couldn't help myself, whose name is a pun, so you've got a yellow card. You're on notice. I couldn't help myself.
Dangle and joke it over their head.
Yeah. So they asked, does Brandon have a cap on plant puns per episode? Hakuna was like, maybe should Brandon have a cap on the plant puns per episode?
No.
And then Paul was like, no, does he have a minimum?
Yes.
So Brandon, what's the deal?
Just like a cop giving out speeding tickets, Brandon
Yeah,
has
quota.
to do a quota.
Exactly.
Yeah, I have a plant-based pun quota per episode that Eric has put upon me, and if I don't reach it, I owe him $2,000.
It's true.
Yeah. Just like the police.
Just like the police.
Similar note, but verbose Borbage wants to know how many more Billy Joel references can we expect? The more the better, as far as they're concerned. And then also asked, what other musicians are there plant/bug versions of? Is there Weird Al Yanko Stink Beetle? I'll see myself out.
Woof.
Red card.
Red card over here.
I don't know. We'll figure it out. I just thought it'd be funny to have a blueberry whose name was Billy Joel.
Eric, there was nothing funnier in that moment that you could have said.
Truly.
I was trying to kick it off from the beginning. I'm just like, yeah, there's a piano man in the corner. Absolutely. Yeah, I don't know. It's just for funsies, you know? It's just for fun.
I don't know if anyone noticed, but in episode 3, when we came back to pillage, gracefully take away money from the
Get
tavern.
what we're owed. Yeah.
I did find a piano. I think it wasn't Piano Man. It was the Nor'easter, whatever the fuck.
Downeaster Alexa.
The Downeaster
Yeah,
Alexa.
that one. I found a MIDI file and then put it on the player piano.
Incredible.
It was so funny.
Right around they're taking our jobs.
If we had all seen each other a mere 4 months ago at Eric's and my wedding, you would have known that our first dance was a New York State of Mind. Billy Joel household. Hakuna asked, Eric, where do you get your inspiration for naming things, people, and places? I just realized Esca sounds a little bit like escargot, and I swear if this temple is a snail thing, I'll scream. That was in episode 1, I think. Hakuna was really on it.
Hakuna did think that names mean things. Yeah, names mean things.
Damn
I usually like translating things into Esperanto because it sounds great.
Sure. Verda Stello. It's of a piece.
Mm-hmm.
And Eric, this is something I know you have been working on, but only the best boy wants to know, how easy do you find it to come up with the somehow perfect NPC voices every time?
Oh, stop.
I feel like you've been working on it feels like you've been like trying to expand your NPC voices, no?
Yeah, there was a thing when I was doing the voice for Boo, I was realizing that like voices in NPCs, I got in my head about this because I think that like the first wave of actual play stuff is like, yeah, do 3 voices, it's fine. Griffin McElroy admitted that like, yeah, I only know how to do 3 voices and it's fine. And I'm like, oh, okay, I'll just do whatever. Like they should be person voices. But like realizing it, I actually, when I watched all of Barry and then I was watching a ton of Bill Hader impressions and I was like, oh, he's very good at like, this is going to sound so stupid, but like, do you know how like on SNL, there's always like an impressions guy or an impressions person, or like even in your friend group, like people is like, oh, they're good at impressions. They're good at doing a voice that is exactly what the other what a celebrity is. Yeah. And then they're going to give it back to it. But I realized it's just a voice which makes the joke you want to sound funnier. And it's like, when I was watching these Bill Hader clips, it was like, it sounds so silly, but it's like, oh, have I been gatekeeping impressions from myself? Like, they don't have to be perfect. They can just be what it is. So when I realized that, like, when I was doing the voice for Boo, and I was like, oh, Boo can just sound like a South Park character, and that's funny. As a joke, like I should just do that. Yeah. And I realized I can just do those things. So to answer the very nice, not actually a question, it's a compliment, but treating it like an actual question, I do it in reverse, right? Like I just try to give them a funny voice that would be fun to do, that you 3 will enjoy, that makes sense for their personality. Yeah. I always go voice last. And sometimes I surprise myself and do voices on the fly, and I don't come up with one. So I've really been trying to push myself to just kind of come up with other stuff. I've been trying to come up with that to, make everything flow a little bit better.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. It's important for being identifiable on microphone, too. We don't have, like, nice lower thirds describing who the, GM is playing in podcast form. So I think it's really only been a handful of times over the course of the podcast, and it's usually me, with, like, mistaking a voice Eric's doing for a different NPC. So it's wonderful, not just for jokes, but for, being clear and good here on the podcast.
That's also just because Eric is a good writer and he knows when to add the descriptive words when he needs to,
Oh, thank you.
He's all of the things. He's good at all of them. Oh, no, he's too good. Take him off the podcast.
Just tell everyone I'm the best GM in podcasting on a very good show when you recommend the show using the videos. No, I think it's also because, like, I feel a little bit more free to do silly voices now that we're not doing real people like we were in Camp-Paign 2 and the Camp-Paign. Camp-Paign.
Eric and I were on a road trip recently, and we were playing a playlist he made for me for my birthday, which was very cute and sweet. And I love live versions of songs just because I find it like the energy is fun, and like I enjoy hearing most of all the musicians' stage banter as they talk back to the crowd in a way that's captured on the live recording. And we heard a line that made Eric laugh and laugh and laugh that he's been repeating to himself over and over this week.
Because you're laughing about it.
It's incredibly funny, and my first thought was, that's an NPC voice right there. I wonder who that NPC is going to be. I can't wait to meet them.
I'm just going to tell it to you because it's not going to show up for a few episodes, even if I end up doing it. So the Avett Brothers, their 4th live album was at Red Rocks, and they were recording. It was on December 31st. So they sang, when it became New Year's, they sang Auld Lang Syne, which was really cool. And then the first song that they did after that.
Impression of their Auld Lang Syne?
It was really well.
The crowd was singing. It was very straightforward.
It was
Auld Lang Syne.
To that point, Brandon. This was at the end of a full Avett Brothers concert where they are running around the stage, playing 7 banjos at once, screaming at the top of their lungs tonally, which is incredible. And then the last song that they did was "The Boys Are Back in Town" by Thin Lizzy, and truly, it was the most tired "Boys Are Back in Town" I've ever heard. But
like 3 a.m. at the karaoke bar, there's 4 people left. Like, that's the vibe.
Yeah, because they were just so tired from doing the whole thing, and they had to do it because this was like their New Year's thing. And of course, the narrator of "The Boys Are Back in Town" are so worried about the boys coming back. Guess who's back? And they're gonna do all the boys things. Not the person who sings "The Boys in Back in Town," but in the verses, the narrator. It's like, so the character voice I've been working on is like, if the boys are gonna fight, you better let them. They're like on the brink of tears because they don't know how to deal. They don't know how to deal with it. Like, they were so hot, they were steaming.
That's just Travolta, and I love it.
I know, it's so good.
But it's like even more. It's like he's like they're like upset. Like, I don't know what to do with the boy. The boys are overpowering. Our town was so bucolic before, but now the boys are back.
The boys are back.
The boys are back.
What's making me laugh is not just that it's a funny voice, but it is so evocative of the track. So we'll include that in the description as well, so people can enjoy that.
All right, incredible.
All right, before we get into our spoily corner, and I reveal the name of this spoily corner.
Driving all the old men crazy.
They took down Main Street. We have, Brandon, a Dinosaur Valley update. So this is from Christian the Just Okay, who wanted to say, it's mind-blowing to me that Brandon also went to Dinosaur Valley as a kid. Thought you might want to know that Dinosaur Valley recently found more dino footprints. That's the good news because of a major drought. That's the sad news.
Yeah, I did know that. I saw that. Thank you for the update. But yeah, it's cool shit.
Very cool.
It's the only good thing about Texas, the dino fossils. And the breakfast tacos.
I was going to say, and tacos.
Eric, is there another relevant line here as we segue into Spoily Corner?
They were down at Tito's Bar and Grill. Can't stop them. She was so red hot. She was steaming.
Great. So we are here, of course, in Spoil the Plank, where we go over all of the spoily questions that we cannot answer because they may or may not come up in a future ep.
Now, is that a pun on something, or is that just a play on Walk the Plank? Am I missing the pun, or is that just a play on the fun?
Play on Walk the Plank. It's like the end of the episode. But we also wanted to give a shout out to Claire the Bean Counter, who suggested Soily Corner, which was very close, Claire. Very close.
That was not a critique. I love it. I was just making sure I didn't miss the pun.
Yes. Mage Silverleaf wants to know, were all the cultists eaten by their god? Or are we to assume that Audrey got to them and they've become part of her undead fleet?
Who can say, Eric, very quick question. Did you pick Audrey for Audrey 2 from Little Shop of Horrors, or just because you liked the name?
No, just because I like the name. The name you came up with was so good, I had to come up with a different one.
Becca, Queen of the Damned!
Becca, Queen of the Damned is such a good name. I was scrambling to come up with a different one that wasn't just Becca, and I'm like, Rachel, no, I can't just do that.
Thank you,
so
you did great.
Yeah.
What's the name of the musical, the desert one?
Priscilla.
Priscilla. Yes.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
Very good.
But Becca was a perfect name for a possessed 12-year-old, and I didn't know what else to do.
You.
I love it.
Sneaky Sloths asks, if aubergine has a French accent, does that mean France is in Verda Stello?
Who can say?
Who can say?
Who can say?
Mel118, Eric, why the hell were you rolling those dice at the end? Who can say?
Who can say?
Michelle Spurgeon, if your characters actually find the salmon, are they going to wish for the waterfall to return or something else?
That's an
Interesting
in-game question, baby.
Hey.
You know, that's funny. I don't know if anyone would. It's an option because the point of the infinite lake also is that there's another infinite fresh water source. So
It might not need the cascade.
Who asked this question again, Amanda?
Michelle Spurgeon, the question surgeon.
Well, Michelle,
Dr. Spurgeon, please.
Dr. Spurgeon. Sorry.
she didn't go to 4 years of question college for you to
College
call
to
her
not be
Michelle.
Well, Dr. Spurgeon, if you got one wish from a genie, would you wish for climate change to be fixed, or would you wish for infinite wishes? Answer your question, and then find
Look
out what
within.
the answer is, you know?
Well, once I got infinite wishes, then yes, I would wish for climate change to not be a problem anymore.
It is an interesting question though, because the infinite lake is another infinite fresh water source. So would you just try to figure out a way to use the infinite lake to fix everything, or would you just use the wish to put it back the way that it was?
But Eric,
And then also there's this infinite lake.
the infinite lake's not infinite. That's impossible. It's clearly not actually infinite. It just looks infinite. That's why it's named that.
Yeah, we don't exist in a magical world or anything, Brandon.
Yeah, that's
Mhm.
ridiculous.
Yeah, it's one of those glass bottom boats actually. He's like, look, it's so shallow because you can see the bottom.
And finally, Mage Silverleaf wants to know who is in and who is out in the crags at the moment. Who's making power grabs and what are their latest scandals? I can't wait to hopefully meet some disgraced family members up on the high seas and learn that political tea.
Yeah.
Roger.
Roger's in charge
Roger's
right
in.
now.
Yeah, Roger's in charge of the crags right now.
Damn. All right.
No, listen, it's totally open. Much like European history, you can kind of just say whatever you want, and it definitely happens at some point.
Much like European history, if you just say a James, a Philip,
It's probably true.
you'll probably get the right
Yeah.
answer.
Yeah, and like anything, James and Philip did anything you can think of because they were king and they could do whatever. It was actually, I've been considering this quite a lot because when I was doing the vexillology of all the flags. So I wrote, there's actually some of that in.
Yeah, the Verda Stello landing page on the Join the Party website, which is in the link of every Verda Stello episode.
Yeah. So I can actually I want to bring it up because it's very funny.
Mm-hmm.
So it's like, you can tell me what's the wildest thing that happened in Craig's history.
Well, maybe I will, Eric. That's why it's in Spoil the Plank.
Well, you're allowed, Amanda. You're allowed, certainly, but everyone else can tell me too.
Maybe I did next episode.
Ooh,
Maybe.
Mayhaps.
Yeah. My favorite part about Craig's history is when it's called the Great Schism and the Great, what do you call it when you fix a hole in a rock?
It's like that thing where you put like gold in Japanese ceramics.
pottery,
Yeah.
Suki, I think, or something,
Yeah.
something close
Yeah.
to that. Yeah. When they fix the fissure between the big ruling parties, and then
Mhm.
yeah. Something about
Yeah.
rocks,
Welding.
you know, the welding, the cementing. The cementing.
Yeah, there it is.
Oh, it's the cementing. No, that's
Okay.
in there. I also made up like a version of the Magna Carta in Craig's history, which was funny. It was the
Magna
brevi.
Carta.
Yeah, that's what it is. Queen Opaline V was slain by her 3 sisters 10 days after it was signed. And you can just say shit. You can just make shit up. It's fine.
Like, that just happened.
It
yeah.
just happened. Yeah.
Incredible.
So who can say? But everyone can say. It's for fun.
Well, folks, that brings us to the end of another jam-packed after party.
Please, Amanda, jammy packed.
Oh, fuck.
Please, Amanda, Dr. Jamie
Fuck.
Packed.
Like, cut that, fuck.
Excuse me. You're gonna pack me in the episode. You need to let me know.
But Jamie, won't you get squished? You're so old.
I'm so squished
I was going to say, already squished.
Because I'm already squished.
Folks, we will see you next week with another brand new episode of Camp-Paign 3. Please share it to your friends. Send them that shanty. Send them the landing page to Verda Stello. Convince them to take this plunge with us because it's going to be really good. It's only getting better from here.
Hell yeah.
Ahoy!
I'm a tomato.
Avast.
And may your rolls trend ever upward.
May your tides
Always
roll in.
rise.
May your dice roll like the tides.
You want them to be like predictably up and down, though.
Oh,
Roll
that's true,
tide dice. Bama. Bye.
I'll sing you a song that all green folk know.
Until the waterfalls home. That only began 50 years ago. Until the waterfalls home. We seek the deep lake and a wish-granting salmon. Until the waterfalls home. So hoist up the sails and load up the cannons. Until the waterfalls home. A rush from the tide, sail through the cascade, an adventure ships, a ceaseless parade. I dream of roots buried in the deep long, but we can't well sleep till the waterfalls home.
Hey, Paul, or I'm gonna mute for 1 second, but keep going.
Okay.
We can just wait for
Was
you.
Brandon getting coffee? What's happening here?
Oh,
the
he's
coffee
getting
ghost
coffeed.
bring him coffee?
Oh. The coffee ghost won't cross the threshold? Is it the coffee
No.
vampire?
Yeah.
Brandon, you have to invite in the coffee vampire.
Well, the thing is, like, about ghosts is they don't know where doors are. 'Cause
Yeah.
you
Headphones
changed
on,
the
y'all.
house. I know.
No, we know.
I know.
Believe me, the next thing I was going to say was, hey, does everyone know how much Brandon smells?
No, because I only saw him once since lockdown.
I saw him 0 times, so that's
Yeah,
pretty
yeah.
crazy.